Hello and welcome to this introduction to CCHS online learning through Sevenstar. I hope this will be helpful as we begin this program together. I'd like to look a little bit at what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to look first at why we even do online learning. Then we're going to consider some distinctives of Sevenstar, why we use them as our program, and then we will look specifically at some of the course logistics of how this course is going to work for your students. So first, let's think about why we have online learning and what the benefits of it are. For one thing, with online learning, we are able to expand our course offerings to the students. We're able to offer advanced placement courses, for example, that we would not otherwise be able to offer. We have a student this year who is taking AP Computer Science, and just one student. We would not be able to offer that as a class for just one student, but we're able to do this through Sevenstar, through online programs. We're also able to offer more foreign languages than we would be able to offer otherwise. For example, in the past, we have only been able to offer Spanish because we've only been able to get a teacher who could teach Spanish. But with this program, we're able to offer Latin, French, Spanish, German, and Chinese, whichever the students would like to take. They're also able to take a third year of most of these languages, again, which is something we would not otherwise be able to offer. We're also able to offer more electives. There are other courses, some specific science courses that we can offer through Sevenstar that we would not be able to teach on our own. It also helps us out with scheduling conflicts. When we have had an in-class foreign language, for example, if all the students needed to take Spanish 2 during 6th period for some reason or another, then that meant they could not take some other course that might be offered 6th period, for example, chorus or drama or some other elective. And so with an online type program, we're able to have more flexibility so that they can take other electives and then take their foreign language course during whichever period it works out best for them. Another benefit of online learning is that it gives us the possibility of flexible credit recovery. Occasionally there are students who for one reason or another will not pass a class in a regular program. To make this up, sometimes it's been very difficult, but with the online program they're able to do this over the summer or during the school year, but preferably over the summer to get that course made up so they get that credit for that class. Another benefit of online learning is time flexibility for the students. They're able to work at night or weekends, on vacations if they so desire. If they're ill and can't be in school, they can still do their lessons online if they're able to. If there's some family crisis that takes them out of school, they're able to work around that easily. They're not missing lessons as they would if they were missing a regular class. They just go online or they're able to pick it up later. They're able to work around family vacations. There are times when parents say, well, I have an opportunity to go on vacation, so I'd like to take my child out of school. That is not a problem with the online program. Either they can do some work while they're gone on vacation, yeah, sure, or they can just easily make up the lessons when they get back, or they can work ahead. It also offers possibilities for summer school so that they can take classes during the summer and get ahead on things they would like to do. Another benefit of online learning is that it increases student responsibility. See, in a regular class, it's easy for the students to just kind of sit back and be passive and to wait for the teacher to spoon feed them, to wait for the teacher to tell them what to do. Well, with online programs, they have to be more active. They have to dig. They are told where to find things, but they have to be more active in their learning. They have to be more active in deciding they're going to keep up with the work and keep up with the deadlines. These are skills that are going to be helpful for them, not only for online learning, but for life in general, that they're going to be encouraged and they're going to be required to take a more active role in their education. And then a final benefit of online learning is that there is an increasing role of online learning in education in general. For example, here in the state of Georgia, The Department of Education is expecting students at one point in the future, in several years, to have completed at least one course online. And because colleges are expecting online learning, it's very common to have an online program in college for specific courses. And so this provides training for our students to get online learning and to learn how to do that. So now, why did we choose to go with Sevenstar? There are a number of online programs that are very good, but we chose to go with Sevenstar for several reasons. One, Sevenstar has been open since 2006, so they have a track record there of about 6 years. Their principal, Mark Beadle, developed the program, and they've developed an online Christian curriculum. It's based on the Florida Virtual School program and system, but Sevenstar has gone through and has thoroughly revised the curriculum to bring it in line with the Christian worldview through their biblical integration project. And so it's a very solid online Christian curriculum. Sevenstar has some key relationships. They're affiliated with several Christian school associations. They're a member of INACOL, the International Association for K-12 Online Learning. And they also have agreements with several Christian colleges and universities to offer dual credit courses. And then they serve hundreds of partner schools, over 3,000 students to date, so they have a good track record of students. Now, one of the benefits of Sevenstar, as I said, is biblical integration. This is not just a secular series that they're going to be doing. They read the materials. Here's an example where, as you see here, is they're reading about archaeology and anthropology, for example. And they get down to a place here where it says, are there 8 men in your ancestry? This is a thing that's going to come up as they study archaeology and anthropology. So the question is, what about that? And so they can click on that link. It will take them to another website, Answers in Genesis, that gives them a creationist perspective on the whole idea of human evolution. It helps them to understand that from a biblical point of view. Or it might be that here in a world history class, they're asked a question that they need to respond to. In your opinion, is one's view of history influenced by whether he or she believes that man is descended from animals? And so they have to post answers to that and engage in a discussion on that whole topic. They also have very high qualifications for the teachers that are hired by Sevenstar. They have to be willing to share their Christian testimony and instruct others in the faith. They are an example of a Christian lifestyle. So the teachers involved in Sevenstar are solid Christians and are going to be teaching from that perspective. And then as the students log on to the classes each day, there is a devotional from the chaplain of Sevenstar. So it gives them an opportunity to see the Word and to understand it and to apply it, and it drives them back to the Word as they log in each day. Now, another benefit of Sevenstar, another characteristic of them, is that they have a high-quality academic program. In the 6th through 12th grade classes, there are more than 70 courses they offer. They offer the core classes. They have the electives. We're using the foreign language, but there's also other electives available. Many of the classes have an honors track. They have 12 AP College Board approved courses. So there's a high academic standard there. They also offer over 100 dual credit college courses in conjunction with Davis College, God's Bible School, and Taylor University. And then finally, the Sevenstar Academy, if you were to take all of the classes from them, which they do offer that possibility, their academy is fully accredited by the North Central Association of Colleges and Schools, which is a subset of Advanced Ed, and here in the Southeast, SACS, Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, is also a part of Advanced Ed. So NCA is somewhat of a sister accreditation organization to SACS. They're also a member of the National Private School Alliance accreditation, and their courses are approved by the NCAA Clearinghouse for use if you are going into NCAA sports. Another distinctive of Sevenstar is that they have an innovative instructional model. Sometimes when we think of online learning, we think, okay, they're just going to be sitting in front of a computer and kind of digging things out for themselves and self-paced learning. Sevenstar is not quite like that. For one thing, they do have rolling admissions and starts. You can start the course at any time. We have our students start and finish in conjunction with our school year, but there may be times when students need to start at other times during the year. So that's possible. That's very easy to do. Sevenstar also has a custom pace. You design a pace, and we're able to do that to fit our school's calendar. For example, and we will be looking at this later, we can schedule classes around our school breaks so that the students are not having to work during breaks unless they choose to do so. And it fits your student's schedule. There's teacher accountability. Again, this is not just the students doing things on their own. There is a teacher on the other end of the software, and at the beginning of each year, the students have a welcome call and talk with their teacher directly through Skype or some other means so that they can get to know their teachers and their teachers get to know them. The teachers are there to provide ongoing academic assistance and can use email, can use Skype and other ways so that the teachers and the students can interact directly. There's also the school's access. We are able to access progress reports, communication logs, contact the teachers directly, and so they have a solid monitoring and tracking program. There are 24/7 progress reports available. You as the parents can log in and see how your students are doing, and we here at the school can monitor their progress and keep up with them. For example, we can pull up grades of all of the students, and then I could zero in on just students looking at their grades and say, well, here's somebody who's failing, so I'd better get in touch with them and see what's going on. So the students, again, are not just left on their own. There is monitoring, there is accountability for them to do their work. We're able to email them, the teacher can email them, the students can email the teachers, we are able to send them emails, and those are all tracked so that I can see, for example, what emails the teacher has sent to the students and can keep up with those. So here, for example, I could look and see here's a teacher who contacted the student and gave them information. So we're able to monitor everything. So it's not just the students being left on their own, but there is a solid accountability type program. So now let's get down to some of the nuts and bolts of how this is going to work for your student. At the beginning, your student will receive a startup email from Sevenstar. As we register them, we will take care of registration. Okay, we do all the registration and all of the legwork for that. But when they're ready to start the class, the student will receive an email from Sevenstar. This will have information for them to log in to the learning system. This is the Angel learning system. That's the brand name of it. But that is the system that they use for all their coursework. So they'll get the login information for that. I will also receive that. I receive copies of all the emails and all the messages that come to your students, and so do you as parents. We set up the enrollment so that you will receive copies of everything that is sent to your students. So after they get that login information, then we will have an in-class orientation for the students. This will take place on this is for the students who are in the foreign language program and who are taking it through our normal system. We will have an in-class orientation on the first day of school, and we'll tell them, go over what's going to happen, go over some of the basic procedures. Then there is an online orientation course. If they have not had a Sevenstar course before, they will take an online orientation which will walk them through how the program works. So here's some examples. For example, here is one of the pages from their online orientation, and there's a video here that they'll be watching. That's what most of the online orientation is. It consists of videos that they will watch, and it will step them through how to take the course, how to do the lessons, how to submit assignments, how to take tests, all of the important things that they need to know to get started. It will give them a tutorial. Here's how they submit their lessons. When they write papers, here's how they're going to submit it. So your students will be instructed on how to do all these things. In addition, I will be here to help them and to answer questions as they need, and they can also email their teachers at any time with questions. So that's the orientation. After they complete the orientation, then there will be a welcome email and a call between the student and the teacher. The teacher will email them and set up some type of call, and this is required. Okay? It might be done if we have a large group here at school. We can try to set up group Skype interviews, but it might need to be a one-on-one type thing between you and your student and the teacher. So they will set that up. It could be through a long-distance call, or it could, like I say, be through Skype or something like that. And the teacher will introduce herself or himself. They'll go over the course and answer any initial questions that you might have. So you can be thinking about that and be prepared to have that. Then the student will submit a PACE chart to the teacher. Now the PACE chart is essentially an academic accountability contract. Your student will be expected to keep up with the pace on this PACE chart. This is established so that they'll be able to stay on track, that they won't fall behind, and they won't get to the end of the semester and have to do 20 or 30 lessons all at once. This provides them a way to stay on track and to keep up with it. We find that if the students keep up with the PACE chart, they are able to do fine, and it's not a lot of work. It's not an overwhelming amount. But if they fall behind, then it's very difficult to catch up. But we help your students set up a PACE chart which corresponds with our school year, as I mentioned before, so that they can do their work and be able to take breaks off and so on. So here is an example of a PACE chart for Spanish 1. And you see the blanks on the side with the due dates. They've grouped the lessons and assignments together, so they expect that you would complete the first lessons of 1.00 to 1.04 on the first week, and so on. And so what we then do, we will fill in the due dates for your students over here on the side like this. We'll fill them in, and then your students can submit this to the teacher, and then they will be expected to keep up with this pace during the year. Now you notice that there is a gap here between September 14th and September 28th. In the 2012-13 school year, that is when our fall break is. And so I set up the chart so that they don't have any lessons due that week. They have the break off. Now if they choose to do lessons, they can do that. They can work ahead. They can work during that fall break. It doesn't mean they can't do anything, but it gives them that week off. Now one thing that we would say is that it's good to take time to work ahead. You can always work ahead of your PACE chart. When you fall behind, you start getting into trouble. There are certain academic penalties that come into play. So it's always good to work ahead. You can work ahead as quickly as you want to. We have set up the PACE chart to track with our school year, but you could, for example, work diligently and finish up a whole year of Spanish in one semester or partway through the second semester. That's fine. There's no problem with that, and if you do that, then you have the rest of the year that you don't have to do anything, or you could go ahead and get started on Spanish 2. We would allow you to do that. So there's a lot of options there. So you're encouraged to work ahead of your PACE chart. But this is what the PACE chart looks like. You'll submit this to the teacher, and then, like I say, this will become somewhat of a contract that you're expected to at least keep up with this pace. So I'll be monitoring this as well as your online teacher. So after you submit the PACE chart, then you'll be doing the lessons. You'll have interactions with the teacher as you need to for academic assistance. You can use course email, you can phone them, you can Skype them. There are certain office hours the teachers have. There are ways that you can get help from the teachers. So then you'll be going through the lesson. Now I'd like to show you just a little bit about what lessons look like in Sevenstar, just so you'll see how these things function. Okay, let's look through a little bit about how a lesson in Spanish might go. We're going to start here with lesson 1.06, and what we have here is learning how to make the sounds. So we have an activity here where they can click and then hear what the letters are going to sound like. So they can play these and listen.
A, K.
And they can select others.
T, K, M.
They can
T, K, M.
listen as much as they want. There are things they would read here as they go through, learning how to pronounce and explaining what the lesson is going to be about. And then you have an objective, and then on each lesson, when they get to the end of that page, they click the next button and it takes them to the next activity. And here at times there may be videos that they watch, and so in this case they watch a video of how the letters are formed.
A, America. A, America.
So you have more practice, and then the lessons will come to an assessment. In this case, for a foreign language, many of the assessments will involve speaking, and so the students not only will have headphones to hear the sounds, but they will also have a microphone to record the sounds. And so we will go over with them how to record the sounds and submit those. So they will do this activity in which they have to make the sounds, they read the pairs of words, record the words, and submit them to the teacher so that the teacher then can give them feedback as to whether they are pronouncing them correctly. So after they finish that, then that's their assessment. There are other assessments that will be something more like multiple choice, where they will have questions and they select the answer. Especially on those, when they're multiple choice or when they are other types of things that involve typing, not just speaking, the system is set up to lock out their screen so they can't go to other websites, and many times they will be timed so they can't spend their time trying to look up the answers somewhere else. They just have a limited amount of time to do it. It's a reasonable amount of time, but it prevents them from trying to just look up the answers somewhere else. So that's basically how a lesson, a sample lesson, will work in Spanish 1. Let's look now at how a history class might look, just so you'll see some of the other possibilities here. This is a lesson in world history, and what happens is the students will come up with a screen like this. It will have material that they are to read, and so they can read through it. There are links they can find out. One of the things throughout the system, let's say as they're reading, one of the things we work with our students on is taking notes, and so you can take notes right within the system here. So as they're reading this, they can click up here where it says My Notes, and when they do, it opens up a window here so that they can, it's linked to the lesson, so it has lesson 1.03a, the different courses. They can choose which course it goes with, and then they can type in any notes that they choose here. Maybe they want to make a list here. There are these 4 points right here of the things that archaeologists do, and so they could just write that in note form so that it would be something quick and easy for them to review later. And then they could save that, and then they would be able to open up their notes at some future time. So that's another feature that we have in this system. So let's say that they've read through this. They are going to, here's an assignment that they will have to do. In this one, there will be multiple choice questions. There will also be an assessment or a paper they need to write, that they need to explain some things. And so as they click on next, it's going to come up here first with the document that they just did, where they were to write an assignment explaining about some objects that were found. And so they submit that. They copy and paste it. They save it as an RTF file, which we will go over with in class. And then they can add the attachments, and then they would submit it to the teacher. Like I said, there is a test. This one, it says that it's worth 50 points. They only get one attempt at it. So the system tracks to see, and once they submit it, they can't redo it again. But in this case, they have an unlimited amount of time, review mode here means after it's through, they can go back and they can look at the answers and see which ones they got wrong. And so as they click on this, then you see this is just a typical multiple choice type test. And so they would just go through and click the answers, and when they get down to the bottom, they would submit it. And so then it would be scored, and they would find out what their grade is. So that's another some of the other features that they will run across either in foreign languages or in other courses as well. Okay, so I hope that is helpful, just so you'll see what the lessons are going to look like. Now, as we have offered this class before, I've asked parents and students for some ideas or suggestions, things that they wish that they had known before they had started the class. Just some ideas that they found helped them a lot. So here's some suggestions that they have had for success. One, you should plan for approximately 1.5 hours of work a day. That counts the online time and any homework time or any outside study. For example, in foreign language, you're going to have to spend time memorizing vocabulary. But this is no more than what you would expect with a regular class. Notice the 1.5 hours includes your online time. So that includes the class time. So it's not like it's an hour and a half of homework time. Part of that is actually what you would do in class. So they say to plan on about that amount of time. If you spend that, you're going to be able to keep up with everything you need to do. You need to remember that when you come to test time, that the tests are secure. Sevenstar has a system that makes the tests secure. In some cases, the tests are timed, like I've mentioned. And so you have to get through with the test in a particular amount of time. This is to keep you from trying to look ahead or trying to look up answers while you're online. You can't pause the test. You cannot restart it. You can't log out and log back in. You need to be sure before you begin a test that you're ready to complete it. And you're going to need to do that here in the tech lab just so that we can have some monitoring available for the test. The tests also are designed so that you can't switch windows and look up things online or whatever. You're locked into the system during the time of the test. When you need to contact the teacher, you need to remember that your teacher might be in a different time zone than you are. If you're setting up a call, a Skype call, or if you need to do something with the teacher, remember that the teacher might be several hours ahead or behind you. We've had one case where a teacher was located in the Philippines, and so it took some creativity on the part of the teacher and the student to be able to arrange a time when they could talk with one another. Most of the teachers are not in that situation, but you do need to realize that if you're setting up a time and you're thinking it's going to be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, well, if your teacher's in California, that's going to be 1 o'clock in the afternoon for them. So you need to be sure that you understand about the time zones and take that into account when you need to contact the teacher directly. You need to contact the teacher as soon as possible if you have problems, especially with downloads. Sometimes you might be in the middle of something. You might download a paper and your computer crashes or something happens. Let the teacher know. Contact them. We've had cases where the computer crashed in the middle of a test, and then the student was not able to get back into the test to finish it. Just let the teacher know, say I started this and I wasn't able to finish it, or you can come and let me know and I can contact the teacher and they can restart the test for you. They can open that back up for you, but let the teacher know as soon as possible if you have a problem with anything, technological problem or something that gets in the way. Be sure you keep up with your pace chart. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is very important. The pace chart is not just a suggestion. Now, you will find out soon enough that, okay, if the pace chart says you're supposed to finish through lesson 1.07 by the end of the week, if you're at lesson 1.06, you're going to find out there won't be a penalty imposed if you haven't done lesson 1.07 by the end of the week, and if you do that on Monday, that's going to work out okay. You're going to learn that there's a little bit of flexibility there, but there's not much flexibility for you to get behind schedule. If you start falling behind, or if you say, well, I'm going to use my class time in Sevenstar, I need to work on my algebra homework, and occasionally you're going to be able to do that. Okay, I realize that. But if you make that a regular practice, you're going to find that you get behind your pace chart very quickly, and then it's very hard to catch up, because all of a sudden you're going to start getting penalized for being behind. You'll have zeros added in for missing assignments, and your grade will drop quickly. And when you try to catch up, you realize that instead of having to do 4 or 5 or 6 lessons in a week, you have to do 10 to 15 lessons in a week. And that gets very difficult. So keep up with your pace chart. Don't fall behind. As I've seen students this year in this class, I see that the ones who are staying on track with their pace chart are making good grades. They're not having to work extraordinarily. They're able to do just fine. It's the students who say, well, let me take a few days off. Once they get behind a few days, it's really hard to catch up. So be sure you keep up with your pace chart. Follow all the steps for turning in the assignments. Sometimes it might say you need to submit an RTF file, and we will go over with how to do that. Other times you need to submit a voice file, especially in the foreign languages. And there are things that you have to do that. If you don't turn things in the right way or in the right format, you'll get a 0 on the assignment. So you have to be sure you do things in the right way. Be diligent at this. There is no daily accountability. In a regular class, you come to class and you have to do the lesson for that day. You have homework for the next day, and you get in trouble if you don't do that. We're not going to be doing that. I'm going to be monitoring your work, and your teacher online will be monitoring your work. But like I said, if you decide on one day that instead of doing Sevenstar, you need to work on your math homework, there's nothing that's going to stop you from doing that. And that's by design. We want you to learn how to budget your time. But again, if you continue to do that, if you continue to fall behind, it's going to be really difficult to get up. So stay on top of your work. Every day, do your work, and then you won't have any problems. Work ahead when possible. You'll find that some assignments take longer than others. And so if you're supposed to do 4 lessons this week and you finish the 4 lessons by Wednesday, take the Thursday and Friday to start working on next week's lessons. Go ahead and work ahead. Don't just say, okay, I'm done with this week's assignments so I can take off the rest of the week, because you might find that next week's lessons are a lot harder. And students have found that out. Sometimes there's a lesson they say, I didn't realize it was going to take me this long to do it. So when you have the chance to work ahead, work ahead. That's going to be to your benefit. So these have just been some suggestions, and I hope this lesson has been helpful to you. I hope this helps you to see what's going to be going on in the class. If you have questions about Sevenstar, feel free to email me. My email address is there on the screen, or you may click on the link that's appearing on your video. I have posted some resources for Sevenstar classes on this website that you can click on. Several things that will be suggestions, different helps for some of you that are in foreign languages or just for some other classes. So you can be sure to click on that link, and it will give you other resources as well. So again, I hope this is helpful, and let me know if you have any questions at all about how Sevenstar works. Thank you for watching this video.